don't wanna be buried in a pet cemetery. I don't want to live my life again.
Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into this week's episode of the SpookNotes podcast, where we get academic about everything that goes bump in the night. My name is Marlena.
And I'm Connor.
And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about our thoughts and opinions on horror movies that are upcoming in 2019, based solely on their trailers.
Yeah, so the reason we wanted to do this is, and I know we haven't really done this before, but the reason we want to do this is because lately there's been a few new trailers that have come out for the horror movies that are coming out later this year, both from the Super Bowl, which happened recently, and this week that we're recording it, which is February 8th. A lot of new trailers have come out this week as well. And then so we thought we'd just kind of give our thoughts about some of them, and the good and the bad, and kind of talk about what we're thinking about the movies coming up, and just some other news as well, generally in the horror world.
Yeah, because I definitely think 2019 is, somewhat of a big year for horror. Like, there's a lot of stuff coming out, such as, like, what we're going to be talking about, the new Chucky movie, Child's Play movie, Pet Sematary, Scary Stories We Tell in the Dark, Us. There's just all these, like, great horror movies that are coming up, and we just kind of want to talk a little bit about, what they are, and, like, what our first reactions were in terms of the trailers that we saw. So yeah, it's just a little bit of a first impressions video this time.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get right into this.
What do you want to start with?
I don't know. You
I think
surprise
we have the most to say, I think, about Pet Sematary. So why don't we leave that one to the end?
Sure.
Okay. Keep our listeners in suspense.
Yeah, we got you hooked now.
Okay, so why don't we start with Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark?
Okay.
So this one was kind of unique because for the Super Bowl, they released 4 very short 10-second teasers. Obviously to make 40 seconds total, and which makes sense if you think about it in the context of like the movie and the books that they come from, because it's all short stories, short scary stories. Okay, well, let me just start by asking you this, Marlena. When you were a kid, did you read the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark?
See, I didn't.
You didn't?
No,
I thought you did.
No, I didn't read them. I didn't read them because I thought the covers were too scary. I'm serious, because I remember the one, it was like this skull, but it was turned sideways.
And it was smoking a pipe.
Yeah, and I was like...
That's the original.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh gosh, like, I don't know, that seems really spooky. Like, back in the day, I was kind of a scaredy cat, and now I'm just like a full-blown psychopath. But yeah, back in the day, I was like, oh gosh, like, I don't really know. So I never really read them. But I know what they are. I know what they are.
Well, but I mean, I think it's going to be exciting then for you to kind of see these for the first time then, and knowing the stories, but not knowing the exact, like, everything that, like, is going on. But I mean, obviously, I think there'll be some differences between the original stories and the movie. But
you read them?
Yeah, I did. I've read all 3. But in any case, these teasers that they showed, the 4 of them, kind of each give a little bit of a tease for 4 of the monsters or stories that are going to be in this. We got the crazy barn guy with the long legs. We got the pale woman. We got the where's my big toe guy or girl. And then we got the girl with the spiders in her face. And you saw the poster for the movie as well, right?
Yes.
So that was like Harold the Scarecrow. That was always the one that scared me the most, because like, well, I won't spoil it for you, but like, it's actually pretty grisly for a children's story, because this is what they were like. Because when I first read them when I was a kid, I was expecting them to basically just be Goosebumps, because that's what I was used to. I was used to Goosebumps, but really they were more than that. They were like darker and more serious, and often like more almost like a folk tale.
Yeah.
And often more grisly. Like Goosebumps, nobody ever really like died or anything like that. But And Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, there's some pretty grisly stuff.
Well, see, and like I knew that they were scarier than Goosebumps because like a few of my friends like read them, and I was like, "Oh, is it Goosebumps?" And they're like, "No way, man, this shit's intense." And I'm like, "Oh man, I can't read this." Yeah, so
And
I don't know. You know, maybe between now and the movie, I'll read it.
I think I have them.
Yeah. Perfect.
I think so.
We'll read them tonight in the dark.
Well, and I think that's something that the movie definitely looks like it's going to be capturing is kind of the dark aspects of it. It's being produced and I think co-written by Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, well, you can definitely see
His style.
His style reflected in the monsters, and just, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty like.
Well, it's almost
noticeable.
like a little bit like Pan's Labyrinth-y.
That and Crimson Peak.
Yeah, in the sense that like it is almost like this kind of like folktale or this kind of like very classic story, but it has a much darker side to it. It seems, and I think that I hope this movie. I don't know what this movie's gonna be rated, but I hope it's rated R. That'd be cool.
Oh, me too.
And you know what's funny? Later on this year, actually, that's also coming out. Is there's a documentary that's coming out about Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. That's kind of like the behind this story, like how they were made and like the kind of impact they've had in pop culture.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's gonna be kind of interesting, I think. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Is that going to be on like Netflix or where can you find that?
I don't know. It's being kickstarted right now,
Oh,
so it's
okay.
kind of like it's very indie. So I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but I'm sure we'll be able to see it some way.
On the deep web.
Yeah,
We'll
for
find
sure.
It. Yeah.
Okay, so that was Scary Stories. Overall, positive. I think.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to it.
I definitely like the design of the trailer, and I'm really excited for the movie and all of its spooky, scary creatures. You know.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay, let's move it on. Let's talk about Child's Play.
Okay.
So, the teaser that we saw, I was actually expecting more of a full trailer, but it was actually very short and really didn't show much.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Okay. When I saw Child's Play, the original, back in the day, when I was little Bubba, that movie scared me so much. I couldn't play with dolls, and I couldn't because when I was a kid, I actually had this like kind of like life-size porcelain doll in my room, and after seeing that movie, I was like, "Feck no!" And I actually ended up moving the doll. So the movie scared me so much as a kid, and I was like, "Oh gosh, like no." I don't know. The vibes I'm getting from this trailer, I just don't know.
It very much seems that it's trying to update it because obviously you haven't seen all the Child's Play movies, but you've seen the original.
I've seen the original. I've seen bits and parts of Bride of Chucky.
Okay.
Like all those kinds of things.
But I mean, the original I think has more of a supernatural feel to it. Like obviously, like it's because of magic. It's because of like the voodoo and stuff. And this seems to be more like it's more like technology and like.
Yeah, I think that's why I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I don't know. And also, we never really got to see what,
it's
Buddy looks like.
Well, it's funny because it is like in this movie, in the new Child's Play, they're calling it the Buddy doll as opposed to the good guy doll from the original. Mm-hmm. But in the trailer, the kid does say Chucky at one point.
He does.
Yeah. So I think it is supposed to be Chucky, but it's not like the traditional Chucky that we know. Although it does kind of look similar. It looks like similar but different at the same time.
See, what I was thinking they were going to do in terms of a Child's Play reboot, I thought it was going to be kind of like a similar, like, a continuous story from the original, like, Child's Play series. You know, those movies, like...
There is the Child's Play TV show that's also coming out this year.
Yeah.
That is from the original creators of the original series that is kind of continue on from where the movies left off, but this is something completely different.
See, and I don't know if I like that, because it's just like, you know, here's something that's already done, and in my opinion, just done well.
Well, I think it's going to be kind of weird that they are continuing the original story, but at the same time, we're also getting this new thing, and this kind of have to live side by side.
Well, there's definitely going to be comparisons.
Yeah.
Which is better. I don't know. I'm trying to be, you know, open-minded about stuff like this. Just, I think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be scary and whatnot. But I don't.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what the new Chucky actually does look like, because we haven't, as of this trailer, gotten like a really like clear look at his actual appearance. So
Yeah.
I think once we actually see what he looks like in full, then we might. Then I think I'm gonna be able to tell how anticipated I'm gonna be for this movie. So
See, for the new Chucky, I don't know. I'm just gonna call him Chucky. I don't want to say Buddy. For Chucky, I'm
but
kind
he is
of.
called Chucky.
I know, but I'm kind of getting like Annabelle vibes already.
But no, but I don't
Like-
think so, because Annabelle again is supernatural based. This seems more like technological based.
How is this? How is the Chucky movies like
The new one, this new one that's coming out.
So it has nothing to do with voodoo and this evil.
I don't
serial
think
killer.
so. That based on what the trailer is, looks like it's like
Oh.
a robot.
Oh, okay. Because I thought it was just gonna follow kind of like the same story, and I'm like, how in the hell is that not supernatural? Like, what?
No, I'm saying I think it's going to be different. I think they're going to
like
and I
it's
think they've said
basically
that
a doll that comes to life through technology and AI.
Well, because in the trailer, like it's all about like, you know, we use technology to help people and to make you have a best friend, and it's almost like that idea of the technology gone wrong, and
so it's basically
going to be a robot. Yeah,
So the Terminator.
yeah, I guess.
Okay, so really, guys, this is not a Chucky reboot. It's the Terminator reboot.
Well, I don't know about that, but
I don't know. We'll have to see. I wasn't, like I said, Child's Play back in the day really scared me, but I wasn't a diehard Chucky fan. Like,
well, you know, it's funny to me also. I when I was watching the trailer and looking at individual shots, it almost looked like it was like a combination of Child's Play and Child's Play 2. Because it was, we saw the apartment, we saw the famous scene where it looks like somebody had fallen out of the apartment on the ground from the original Child's Play. But then also there seemed to be like a lot of stuff that may be happening in the toy factory, which is all Child's Play 2. Like the whole end of Child's Play 2 happens in the toy factory, and I think they may be kind of combining elements from both those movies.
well, I guess we'll just have to see.
Mm-hmm.
When does the movie come out? April?
No, later than that. I think it's, I don't know exactly. I think it may be summer.
Okay.
So
Cool.
yeah. All right, so that's Child's Play.
Next.
Well, okay, let's talk about Jordan Peele.
Okay.
So we got two. Jordan Peele is going to be big, I feel like, this spring, both in March with Us and then in April with The Twilight Zone.
Mm-hmm. I'm really excited for both of the things he's going to put out, because actually, what one was it, like 2-3 days ago, I actually watched the movie Get Out for the first time. I know. And I loved it. I loved his, style of directing. I loved the story. It was original.
I feel like he's the first director in a while who creates a horror movie that's a good horror movie, but B, also has something to say. It's also just a good movie, and it has a reason for existing, and it's trying to say something.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's also just a good horror movie.
Yep. Mad respect.
Mm-hmm.
Mad respect.
So, okay, let's start with The Twilight Zone, because I feel like it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So we saw the Super Bowl trailer where it was kind of like it kind of played off like pretending it was like messing with like the game and stuff, and then we saw Jordan Peele in the stadium, and he goes to the door, and we get a little bit of a hint of the classic Twilight Zone theme. So you are a fan of the originals.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't seen all of them. You've seen a lot of them.
Yeah.
I've seen all of them. I'm a huge fan of the original Twilight Zone. It's one of my favorite shows of all time.
Rod Sterling, my boy.
Rod Serling.
Rod Sterling, my boy. Sirloin. Got it.
It's classic. Everybody knows it's one of the best TV shows of all time. Love it. And I feel like with this new one, I think because it is Jordan Peele behind the creative force of it, like he's not going to be like directing and writing every single episode, like probably like very rarely, but he's kind of still like the creative force behind it, I feel. He's the host.
Yeah, I was going to say he's like the face of the...
He's the Rod Serling of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's very much the same kind of deal as Rod Serling in that a lot of his stuff, both Get Out and then with Us, that we'll talk about later, they all have a point, they all have a message, and that was like the same thing with the original Twilight Zone. All the episodes, like, you could have an episode where it's like people they're fighting against aliens, but really it's just a message about communism.
Yeah.
Or like other ones where it's like the end of the world, but really it's about, personal freedom and how do you respect that. So,
and I think that's really good for making Jordan Peele like the director, because he's all about like the hidden
the social
messages.
messages.
Yeah, and especially like with Get Out and now the movie Us, like I think that this is perfect for him.
Yeah. And again, he's also just a good horror director, and I think it's going to still keep that classic Twilight Zone feel of still it's going to be scary, and it looks like there's going to be a lot of cool people involved with it, and also I'm just looking forward to having once again an anthology TV show out there.
Yeah, because we both really liked Black Mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think of the Twilight Zone, I kind of think like Black Mirror is like the modern version of the Twilight Zone.
Absolutely.
So I'm the newer version of the Twilight Zone, the modern version that's coming out this year. I definitely think it's going to reflect a little bit Black Mirror style, which is fine. I love it.
Oh yeah,
so
because it's going to have to be updated. Because obviously, like the original Twilight Zone is a classic, but all of their stories had to deal with like nuclear power and like communism and
like social problems that happened in that time.
Yeah, in that time. So I think they're gonna definitely have to modernize it for our time.
Yep.
And make it reflect that, which Black Mirror kind of already has done. But part of me is really just like can't wait to hear that classic theme on the TV again, and like the logo and everything. Like the Twilight Zone name recognition is like not enough for me, but it's definitely part of
it. In the Twilight Zone.
All right. So, okay, so let's talk about his other movie. Or his other thing. Us. So, we watched the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it definitely seemed like it's not the sequel, but it's almost like the thematic continuation of Get Out.
Really?
I feel like it's going to be dealing with the same issues of racism and how we look at race and what it means to be black and the black experience.
Well, exactly. That's what I was thinking when I watched the trailer too. Like when they're sitting on the couch and they see these killers outside, and the little boy is just like, "Well, this is us." And I think it's more just like the violent stereotype associated with being black. That's gonna, you know what I'm trying to say? Like I don't mean to sound bad. Like it is a stereotype, but I think that's what some people think of when you are black. It's like you're violent and stuff like. I'm not saying that at all, but that's what I got from watching the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
That it's the stereotype of being black and the violence associated with the black culture and stuff. I don't know. That's what I got first.
Well, yeah, and the fact that it literally is them. Like it's literally them.
Yeah.
Like standing on the other side, and that because it's Jordan Peele, and we think about Get Out, there was the twist and that. Mm-hmm. There's obviously going to be some kind of twist and some kind of like something we don't know yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm excited to see what that is, and excited to see like why these doppelgangers are there, and what they are, what they're doing. Like, it looks like there's going to be a lot of symbolism in this movie as well. Like, there's a lot of just like shots that I see in the trailer. Like, I think of like the guy on the beach with his like hands out, and they're like bloody. I'm like, what does that mean? And there's like lots of shots, even in the original trailer, of like bunnies, and they look like they're almost in this lab. Like, well, what does that mean? And so it's kind of like I'm just really excited to actually like more than anything. Like I think sometimes when we watch a trailer for a movie, you're like, "Oh, I'm really excited for the kills," or "I'm really excited for the gore." Like this one, I'm just excited to figure out the story, like to know these characters and to find out what happens to them.
Yeah, I definitely think that's why Get Out was such a big success, because yeah, it's just interesting to be like, what the hell is going on in this movie? Mm-hmm. Like nothing really makes sense, and I really hope he puts that into Us as well. Mm-hmm. deeper meaning and a twist.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's gonna be some kind of twist. It's almost like an episode of The Twilight Zone.
Oh, what? All right.
Okay, so that was us. Generally, I think we're both very positive about it.
Yep.
Okay, so the last trailer, there's going to be some stuff. Stick around after this last conversation because there's going to be some stuff that I want to talk about just in terms of horror news.
Mm-hmm.
But the last trailer of the day that came out recently that we want to talk about is for a little movie called Pet Sematary.
Yeah, you may have heard of it. It's kind of like a small D-rated indie film.
No.
No.
Obviously based on the book by Stephen King. Kind of a remake of the 1989 Mary Lambert Pet Sematary.
Mm-hmm.
So, Marlena, without spoiling anything, what did you think of the trailer?
What do you mean without spoiling anything?
Like, let's say...
Spoiling the stuff that happened in the book?
No, I mean, like... Obviously, okay, here's what I'm going to say. Okay, here's what I'll say. The trailer for this movie, for Pet Sematary...
Yeah.
The trailer that just came out,
mm-hmm.
spoils a big twist in the movie, I think.
Okay. Which is... Who dies?
Yeah.
Well, why can't we talk about it?
No, what I'm saying is we can. I'm just saying, like, before you hear us talk about it, if A, you don't know what that twist is.
Yeah, then you should do yourself a favor and watch the trailer.
No. What I'm going to say is, you should do yourself a favor, and if you want to see this movie, don't listen to us. Don't watch the trailer. Just go in without seeing that. That's what I was... I wish I hadn't watched the trailer.
Okay, true.
You know? Okay, so that's your spoiler warning. Alright, let's talk about it.
Okay, first off, what the fuck? They picked the wrong kid to die. Listen to me, guys. I was so angry at this fucking trailer. I literally... Like, Connor showed me this in the morning, and I literally looked at him for about 30 seconds afterwards, just blank, and I was just like, why?
Okay,
why?
So explain... Okay, explain. Explain why you're mad.
Okay, I'm so livid right now, because the whole reason Gage dies is...
Okay, before you even get there.
Okay.
So you're angry that it's Ellie, the daughter, who dies and not Gage, the baby.
Yes.
Okay. You explain why, then I'll give my thoughts.
I'm really angry at that because the whole point of Gage dying was to help, or just to give some character development to Ellie, who's having, like, an existential crisis, like, questioning her parents about death, like, because her cat just died, but she doesn't know that, and she's like, well, she's questioning death, questioning God, the afterlife, all this stuff, and it's kind of like she's internalizing all this stuff and going through internal struggle, and that's the whole point of this fucking movie/book, and I feel like them changing that, like, what? That doesn't make any sense. So you're killing off a kid who's like 6 and who can actually comprehend to some extent what
I think
death...
Ellie's supposed to be older than 6. I think she's supposed to be like...
Okay, but in the book, she's like 6. I'm thinking of the book. But whatever, even 8 or 9, right? She's able to comprehend death to some extent and is questioning it. Now, here's Gage, who's a toddler, who can't even speak coherently. Like, how does that make any sense? I don't know. There has to be some other stuff, like, where, what's his name? The doctor, Lewis? Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, he must have to go through some extra stuff. I don't know. I was very mad about that. I can't even put words to that. I'm very passionate about it, guys. What do you think, Connor?
Okay, so what I think is I agree with you and I disagree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you that I'm angry, but I'm angry for a very different reason.
Why?
I'm angry that they spoiled the twist in the trailer.
Yeah.
Because it is a twist. It is. It's obviously, if you know the story, you know that Gage dies and he comes back. But if you think about it this way, obviously, like, remove yourself from your own experience. Think about if you had never read the book or seen the original movie. You don't know that one of these kids is going to die. I think the fact that they spoiled that in the first place is a spoiler and a huge twist that they spoiled. But what makes me even angrier is that they spoiled that it's going to be Ellie and not Gage. Think about how effective that would have been if we had seen that in the theater, like when we actually saw the movie in full.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been insane. But they spoiled it already, and we know. That's why I'm angry. And then where I'm going to disagree with you is, at first I thought the same way as you. I was like, oh, that's bad that it's Ellie and not Gage. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, I actually kind of like that. I do. Because the more I thought about it is, every time there's an adaptation of a novel, obviously I'm a huge Stephen King fan, so I've seen lots of different adaptations of his work. The filmmakers come in with their own ideas and thoughts and kind of visions for what story they want to tell. And I think after seeing the first trailer and then after seeing this trailer, it made me realize that their vision, their kind of adaptation of this novel is going to be much different from the novel. They're not doing a straight up adaptation. They're telling their own story.
Yeah.
And their own story involves kind of like almost like these like pagan kind of children in this like ritual. And I think because of that, because of the first trailer played so heavily on like the images of like the children like burying their pets and they kind of was wearing these masks. And then this trailer obviously focused on the death of Ellie and stuff. It made a connection to me that I realized that to fit that theme, it makes more sense that it's Ellie because she's the one who had that connection with her cat who died. And now that she's then come back, it is almost... It's like Judd says... There's a line in the second trailer where he said, other things are going to come back too now that you've done it. And you saw those with the children. So it makes me think that it's not going to be just Ellie. It's going to be these other like weird dead like zombie kids in these masks.
Yeah.
That are going to be... And that to me is interesting. And another interesting difference that I caught when because I've watched the trailer a few times now, that I don't know about you caught, but like, if you think back to the original movie, when Gage comes back, he's evil straight up. He comes back and the first thing he does, he goes to Judd's house and kills Judd. Correct?
Yep.
It looks like in this movie that Ellie's going to come back. She's going to be evil, but it's almost like she's going to like go to her parents' house first and like almost like act normal. Because we see that interaction with her and her dad where she says daddy. And then what I thought was my favorite part of the trailer was when she walks in and then Lewis says like to Rachel, like, hug your daughter.
Yeah.
And then she goes to hug her. It almost looks like she's going to be almost like kind of normal at first and then is going to become evil. Or maybe he's just like hiding that evil. And I think that's a very interesting twist to the original story.
See, I think based off what you just said, it kind of relates back to the book. I can't remember what this guy's name is, but it was the one old guy and his son had gone off to war and he brings him back, but his son's not violent towards him. He's like actually pretty normal, aside from being, kind of like zombie like whatever.
Kind of dead.
Yeah, kind of dead, but like he's still company to be with. So maybe they kind of went off of that, like, even Judd's dog was like still normal to some extent, but he wasn't the same.
Right.
As opposed to like the movie, like the original, the 89 movie, that they just come back as being straight evil.
Yeah. No, you're right, yeah. And I think that the more I've thought about it, the more I'm like, I am angry at this movie, because like, it did spoil that, and I think that it would have been way better if I had seen that in the theaters. And there's a few other little things, like, I just think that Lithgow isn't going to be as good of a Judd.
Oh, hell no.
Like, I think nobody can beat Fred Gwynn. Like, it's just iconic.
Gotta get off the road.
But
I hope he does that accent, though, and I hope he says road like that.
But other than that, like, I think the more I thought about it, I'm like, I actually am really looking forward to this new movie. It's going to be a different story. It's going to be something that we haven't seen before, and I'm excited for that. And I feel like there's going to be things I'm not going to expect that I'm going to see in this movie. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that's got me really excited about it is that it really looks like we're going to be actually seeing the Wendigo in this movie.
Yes. Oh my god, I'm so excited for that.
Which is something we never got in the original, but is obviously a huge part of the book, and is, in my opinion, like, the scariest part of the whole book is when Lewis sees the Wendigo.
Well, yeah, because the way it's described in the book, and like I don't know if they're gonna follow the same style, but it was described as being like this 60-foot beast that you couldn't
yellow
really, yeah,
eyes.
you couldn't even really see it clearly, and like
Like-
that's scary. Like the fear of
Which
the
is like a
unknown,
shape.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I am really excited for that, and I don't know, just the simple fact that like, you know, we're gonna see a different kind of take on it, and I even read this like kind of statement from the directors where they talked about how the reason that they chose Ellie to be the one who dies is because she was asking those questions about death, and because you know, it seems like she was so preoccupied about it, like it makes sense that she was the one who died. Also, because she's the one in this movie who finds the pet cemetery for the first place, and kind of so it's like that connection's there. Even the fact that Church is the first one to be brought back, and it's her cat.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, like the more I thought about it, I'm like I actually really kind of dig that idea. I'm not saying it's better than
Yeah,
it
it's
being
just
Cage. It's
different.
different, which I'm excited for because I think the more I've thought about it, I'm like, you know what? If this movie was just like the book or just like the original movie, then what's the point?
That is true.
You know?
Because it's already been done.
Like that's why I really liked the 2017 It, because I saw the original TV miniseries with Tim Curry, and I saw how Tim Curry did Pennywise, and then we saw this new one, and it was so different.
Mm-hmm.
Like Skarsgård's Pennywise is so different than Curry's that it's like great. Like that's
Yeah.
what I wanted. Like I wanted something different that I've not seen before. Even though it's the same story, it's done a different way, and I really think it shows how a director's vision is important because they might be telling this story, but they have their own take on it. Just like when you read a story, it's you perceive it differently than when I see it because you have your own background and your own perceptions and stuff.
See, the way I think of it is like you have The Shining, which is, in my opinion, one of the best books I've ever read by Stephen King, and then you have Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. They've, you know, similar themes, you know, similar location, characters, but the overall story is like completely different.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just the best way I've ever heard it to ever The Shining ever being described, like Kubrick's Shining,
Mm-hmm.
is it's a fantastic movie and a terrible adaptation.
Well, yeah, no, exactly. And that's why I'm kind of thinking, and now as we're talking about this, maybe Pet Cemetery is going to be like that. You know,
I hope so.
I really like the book. I thought it was really well written and everything. Like the original movie was pretty much exactly the same as the book, aside from like a few elements, but for the most part, it was exactly the same.
Well, it's because that movie was actually written by Stephen King.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm saying maybe this new version is kind of going to be like Kubrick's version of The Shining, you know, which is my favorite
well,
movie.
I mean, I don't know
like,
if it's going to be that good. But...
No, I know, but I'm saying it's kind of the same.
Yeah, no, I get it for sure.
So,
well, I mean, I hope so. Like, I want it to be good. I'm not like getting down on it, you know.
I think I was just shocked that the directors took that much artistic liberty with their whatever and just killed off, like, in my opinion, the wrong character. But like
No, like I said, I too am angry at the trailer, but for a different reason. I'm not angry at the fact that Ellie dies. I'm angry at the fact that they spoiled that it's Ellie.
To be honest, like the entire story you can just see within the trailer.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because she goes to Pet Cemetery, you see that her cat is dead, then she dies, and then she comes back to life, and it's like,
turns evil.
And then she turns evil. I'm like, well, fuck, you didn't even have to see the movie. You just saw the trailer. Boom, bada bing, it's done.
Yeah.
So
like I said, like obviously we've been talking about, but that's why I said before at the beginning of it, like, and you said like, oh, don't listen to us, watch the trailer first, and I'm saying, if anything. I mean, obviously, as we've been talking about, people know now, but, like, that's what I'm saying. I wish I could go back in time and not have watched the trailer.
Yeah, well, that's what we did with the movie Mandy, right? Do you remember
that?
Yeah.
The movie Mandy, like, it was, our faithful listeners will know, it was my third favorite movie of last year. And I literally, all I knew about the movie Mandy before I saw it was that Nicolas Cage was in it, and that it was apparently really weird. That was it. I didn't know anything about that movie. I saw no trailers, nothing.
And that's basically what you told me too. And you're like, hey, you want to go see this movie, Nicolas Cage? And I'm like, yep, I got nothing else better to do on a Tuesday night. So then we went and saw it. It was basically a drug trip, but it was kind of fun. So, you know.
That's why, well, okay, now we can kind of transition into the last two things I want to talk about.
Okay.
But one of them is, the fact that, one thing I want to talk about was the fact that Mike Flanagan's Doctor Sleep got pushed to November of this year. So now it's going to be coming out this year, 2019.
Oh, it got pushed.
Or it got
like brought back? Like
yeah, so like originally it was going to be released January 2020.
Oh.
And now it's being released November 2019.
Hey, that's pretty good.
And that's the kind of movie that I'm really looking forward to because I love Mike Flanagan, between Gerald's Game and Haunting of Hill House and so many other things. Oculus, Hush.
All those great features and films.
And the fact that I do like the novel Doctor Sleep, which I read, and I'm really, really, really looking forward to it. I kind of don't want to watch any trailers for it. I'm just like, even though I really am excited for it, I'm like...
That should be our new thing. Honestly, we should just go into these movies completely oblivious to whatever the fuck's going on. Like, obviously...
But I feel like I remember even the Child's Play trailer that we just talked about, like, we just watched it, like, about an hour before recording this podcast, and it came out Friday morning, and even between Friday morning and Saturday night, I was like, God, I really want to watch the Child's Play trailer.
Yeah, thank you for not watching it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just overall excited, I guess, for this upcoming year, and then it's coming out in 2020, right?
No, it's coming out this year in September.
Fuck, it is.
And then another one that I want to talk to you about, another piece of news. I don't know if you heard this. This is not a movie coming out this year. I'm pretty sure it's going to be coming out 2020. But the sequel to Halloween got a screenwriter.
I did hear that. I did. There obviously was going to be a sequel.
So I mean, the screenwriter is some guy I've never heard of. But the bigger news is that Blumhouse has pretty much confirmed that there's going to be a sequel, and they pretty much confirmed that the three, like the Strode girls, like Jamie, her daughter, and her granddaughter, will all probably be coming back as well. So
that's going to be really interesting to see what kind of story they, dig up.
I don't know. Like,
because is Michael really dead? Like, who really knows?
Not.
Maybe what is it? The Allison, the young girl is going to be new Michael. I think that would be really cool.
That would be really cool. It's not going to happen. It definitely will not. Michael's coming back. It's going to be more of that. I don't know who's directing it, but in an interview late last year, John Carpenter said that if they did do a sequel, which it looks like they're going to, he would absolutely do the music again.
Yes.
So that's what I still say. I still say I really, really liked 2018's Halloween, but the best part of it for me was just getting a new John Carpenter score.
True. You know what they should do if they're continuing to make sequels for the new Halloween franchise? They should make a Halloween 3 movie and make it the Season of the Witch and recast Tom Adkins,
That's the thing, like, we would want all this, but it's never going to do it. Like, I have come to realize that for all of Halloween's existence, every new Halloween movie, it's going to be Michael Myers coming back, killing people. That's all it will ever be.
I don't know. Maybe we could pitch the idea, make an indie film.
And that's like the same thing even with Friday the 13th. Like, no matter what, Friday the 13th movie that ever comes out, it's going to be Jason in a hockey mask. It's never going to be like Pamela Voorhees again or something like that, or like something like Part 5 when it was Roy Burns. It's always just going to be Jason in the hockey mask.
Well, we can stay hopeful.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else that you want to talk about?
No.
Is that it?
I think that's
I'm
about
honestly, I'm really looking forward to 2019.
Me too.
A lot of great stuff that's going to be coming out. The first big one in March is going to be Us. That's like the first really big horror movie that's coming out this year. And then from there, it's just going to be crazy all year.
Oh yeah, especially a lot of stuff coming out in April. Holy fuck.
Yeah, I mean, not horror related, but Game of Thrones is going to be coming out. Kind of horror related, a new Mortal Kombat game is going to be coming out.
Yes. Did they say who's going to be like
the guest characters?
Yeah.
No, but there's strong speculation that Michael is going to be in it.
Yeah. They should put Pennywise.
And because Warner Brothers, that's doing the new It movie that's coming out, also is the company that owns the Mortal Kombat studio, is going to put Pennywise in the game as well.
Cool.
That's just like what people think, but I mean, I'm hoping for it.
It's a cool twist.
Yeah.
Well, I guess 2019's not looking so bad.
It's looking good.
It's looking pretty spooky.
Hey, I'm excited to do our best of 2019 when that comes around.
Yeah.
Nice.
Only 10 more months.
11.
Fuck. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, so where can you find us, Connor?
Well, you can find us by searching SpookNotes podcast on YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes.
Yeah.
And if they wanted to send us a comment, why don't you send us a comment? Why don't you send us something telling us what you're really excited for in 2019?
Yeah.
And where can they do that?
Well, you can find us at spooknotes@gmail.com. Yeah, we would just like to hear from you guys.
Let me put you this way.
Anyone.
The first person who ever emails a comment to us is going to be featured on the show. We're going to say their name. We're going to be like, "You are our favorite fan," and
Please,
we're gonna throw a party.
Yeah, for
the first person who comments.
We'll buy you a Dairy Queen cake.
Yes, and we'll eat it.
And we'll eat it in your honor. Well, it's been a slice. Yeah. Do you have anything else to say?
No. Well, I think we have one last thing to say. And as always,
don't forget to cite the Spook Notes.
Bye.
Bye.